Welcome back to the Dread broadcast. Tonight, we're diving into The Conjuring Last Rites, the supposed final chapter in one of horror's most influential modern franchises.
Yeah, love it or hate it, you can't deny the impact The Conjuring has had over the last decade. James Wan's original film in 2013 redefined mainstream horror, tight, atmospheric, and grounded in a based on a true story hook that actually worked. It didn't just scare audiences, it gave them a franchise to rally behind. And at the center of it all were Ed and Lorraine Warren, real-life paranormal investigators who became pop culture icons overnight.
Exactly. Before The Conjuring, most mainstream horror had leaned heavily into remakes, found footage, or extreme gore. Then Wan comes in with his haunted house story rooted in old school tension. Creaks in the floor, shadows in the corner, the dreaded clap scene, and suddenly horror felt scary and classy again.
And it wasn't just a one-off. The success of that movie birthed an entire Conjuring universe. You've got Annabelle, The Nun, The Curse of La Llorona. Say what you will about the spin-offs, but they've been box office monsters. Annabelle creation alone pulled in over $300 million on a $15 million budget.
Yeah, this thing became the closest horror has ever had to its own Marvel-style universe. And Wan and the Warrens were the glue holding it all together. Whenever Ed and Lorraine showed up, it felt like the main event.
Which is why this movie is such a big deal. Last Rites is being billed as the swan song for Ed and Lorraine on the big screen. This is supposedly the final chapter for their story, the closing bookend to a franchise that's been haunting theaters for more than a decade.
But here's the question. Does it hold up? Is Last Rites a fitting finale to one of the most successful horror franchises of all time? Or is it the weakest link in a universe that started with a bang, but has maybe overstayed its welcome?
And joining us tonight to figure that out is a familiar face or voice, depending on how you've tuned in before. Please welcome our special guest, GC from at Face the Movies. You've heard him on the Dread broadcast before, but this is the first time you're seeing him join us live for one of these reviews.
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me. It's my first time on the live, second time back rating a movie. So damn excited to be here, and especially talking about The Conjuring Last Rites. I mean, man, it's been a hell of a journey watching these films and exploring them. And I know last week we did that live with you, Tim, talking about the first Conjuring. So it comes full circle. Last week, the first Conjuring, and then today, coming into the very end.
Yeah, so you just stole my next line. That's okay,
No.
though.
Say it anyway, because I can't say it as good as you.
My notes. We had no idea I was about to say this. But yeah, we recorded with GC before, and that's coming up in 13 Nights of Halloween. So you'll see that one. But this is his first time on a live. GC, we're stoked to have you back. This feels like a full circle moment, especially since the last time we all teamed up, we talked about the original Conjuring. So it's only right that we bring you in to talk about Last Rites. So let's get in. We'll start breaking apart the score and where we stand on this film. So the story, I'm just going to get right into it. Normally, I'm going to let you know, normally we do not do spoilers for films that are still in theaters. But this is a tough one to... I would say this is tough more so than Weapons is to avoid spoilers, because this is the final film. You got to talk about how it wraps up to appropriately do it justice. So the story of this one, we kick off with their first case, young Ed and Lorraine, played by different actors. Haunted mirror story. Lorraine gets her superpowers. We see stuff happen. Fast forward years later, one of the parallels that I really liked in this story was after just watching The Conjuring, we see them giving their lecture to a hall full of people in the first movie. They're doing one of their ghost lectures. What is that called? It's a university lecture hall.
Yeah.
It's a lecture hall.
Like a presentation or something.
Yeah. It's packed. This movie, we get to them again, and they're doing it to a nearly empty room of kids who just kind of think it's all a big joke. So I did kind of like that parallel, like wrapping it up. They're at the end of their career. They're not taken as seriously by the masses anymore, so on. But we see that it's clear there at the end. His heart has an issue. He can't really do these investigations anymore. We saw that from The Devil Made Me Do It. Uh, Long story short, another haunting starts happening at a house in Pennsylvania. They end up getting involved, and it ends up being the mirror from their very first case, the night that their daughter was born. That same mirror appears at this house and is haunting them again. And this is their final investigation. So that is the short version of what's going on in this film. So where do we stand? We can dive into it more on story elements that we like. But where are you guys at on story? What stood out to you on this one?
Go ahead,
Oh,
GC.
sorry.
You're our guest.
Oh man,
We'll sandwich. I'll go last.
Right, right.
Well,
at the same time.
so we're doing non-spoiler, right? Or am I allowed to?
No,
spoil?
we're gonna go full spoiler for this. Just go full
Okay.
spoiler because I gotta talk about it.
Awesome.
Dude, I know. I'm fighting for my life to not
Yep.
like just
Heads
like
up.
just
If you don't
Yeah,
want it spoiled, leave now. So
yeah, guys, because we're gonna spoil the hell out of it.
Mhm.
But so for me, I think I loved Tim. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. As far as for the start of it, it's fantastic to start this movie with them. You anticipating like a full room of students, like watching the lecture and everything, and then for it kind of show modern times, right? Because when we meet the Warrens back in the first Conjuring, everything's different. This is pretty new. It's just something where everybody's fascinated by it, and obviously you see them younger and everything. You see more pep in their step, but with this one, you could tell they've been beat down, worn out already. No pun intended. But then you see that the room where it's like 4 or 5 students, and obviously out of the 4 or 5, one of them's a daughter, and then the other 3 are just kind of making fun. So it goes to show how times have changed, especially when they're talking about Ghostbusters and all these modern movies. It's like, oh wow, everything is different. But with that being said, I think the story was good. It was interesting because to me, this movie felt like it wasn't so much about the family. I mean, not like it was more about the Warrens. That's what it felt like. Like
Yes.
this was a tribute to them. There was certain key moments in this film. Just one in particular that actually gave me goosebumps and actually like made my eyes water a little bit. And that was in the very beginning of the movie. But man, I mean, there was nothing special. I don't think there was any razzle dazzle for me.
Which part? There were a couple parts. I will admit there were a couple parts that made my eyes water a little bit in this film.
Yeah.
So which part got you?
I think for me, the main part was the baby being born.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, dude,
sad.
the actors that played Ed and Lorraine, the young version of them, dude, phenomenal job.
They were
Like,
good. Yeah.
they did so good. They looked like them. They sound like they knocked it out of the park. But that scene, literally, when that baby starts crying, I just got goosebumps, and it was so freaking, dude. Like, man, those actors conveyed like a certain type of pain that just it's hard to really put on screen, and they
Yeah.
did it, man.
Yeah.
Like I felt it. I felt like I was like, oh, thank God. Okay, the baby's okay.
I agree.
But besides that one, I think it was that moment where Ed was talking about how he gives the keys to the fiance like in the room, and he's just kind of talking. He was talking about how he was feeling older. Not in that particular scene, but there was another scene where he was talking about he's like, oh yeah, like he didn't want to admit that they're getting older because he didn't want to admit about his heart getting weaker and all that stuff. And that was so relatable to me, hitting like my late 30s, and I was just like, man, like it really conveyed to me. And I mean, but yeah, I mean, as far as for that was cool, but it wasn't any no bells and whistles. I felt like the movie was more of wrapping it up and just giving them that good, going away thing. But you could tell by the story that it's already there's no much strength left in the Conjuring universe. Like they barely had enough for this. There was nothing original really. It felt kind of like Oculus, or the movie Mirrors, but at the same time, it was just a a family just retiring. That's kind of what it was.
So before we let Johnathan go, Johnathan marathoned all of the movies for this one. So
Last night.
he's got fresh perspective. GC hit on, and I don't know if I've said it before on the channel. I feel like I have to have. Like my biggest fear, and people will like, I don't have a problem admitting this when people ask this question. My biggest fear is growing old, you know, and I know that's like for some people, like getting older is a beautiful thing. And I'm like, yes, it is. It's also a frightening thing. It's also a terrifying thing. Both can be true. So seeing things like that in movies, you know, the actors that I've grown up with 10 years ago, watching Ed and Lorraine and watching them now like retirement. And yeah, I know they're actors. They're not actually 60 whatever now, but it's still that idea that like time is passing for us too. And it's sad. So that's a great point you brought up. Before I give my full scathing remarks, I'll let Johnathan's impression of this after just binging the previous three, none of the extended movies, hopefully.
No, I haven't watched any like the Annabelle or the Nun, La Llorona. I haven't watched any of those. Well, I think I saw the first Annabelle, but
just the core,
kind of whatever.
Okay, just the core Conjuring.
Yeah, so I watched all those just all last night, like from like 7:30 on until like 2 a.m. I watched all three of those, and then the new Conjuring earlier today, and it's a good story. I like it, but like GC said, there's nothing too razzle dazzle about it. It's very formulaic. As with the other three, you've got a family in distress. You've got your paranormal investigators who come in to try and help save the day. It's just with this one, there's more of an unwillingness to do this because of the fear of the aging and Ed having had those heart attacks before and how dangerous this can be and wanting to step back from that. You know, that's about the only part that really gets anything extra original, aside from the fact that now that you've seen the origins from that first case and how this thing has been waiting so long to finally get Judy, you know, and that pursuit and that waiting, and how we've got this also sense of an evil entity controlling other spirits like you do in the second one to make bad things happen. That's a little interesting, but still not exactly original because you still got that kind of carryover concept. But I do like the story. I thought it was really great. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that kind of like cherry on the top ending to it, especially at the end where, you know, you got Tony and Ed's just like throws in the keys. He's like, hey, welcome to the family, you know, kind of a deal, you know. It's like, okay, all right. You know, they're accepting that role of needing to step back in that aging process and, you know, just having to move on with their lives and letting their daughter do their thing and letting their kid be an adult. So there's a lot to process in there when it comes to that whole aging thing, like you guys are talking about.
I teared up at the wedding. Not gonna lie, I teared up at the wedding when we see. Big spoiler: when we see the families they have saved from the previous movies.
That was an awesome touch.
Yes, we see them at the wedding, and I was like, "Oh, that's so good,
dude!" And James Wan, dude.
Yeah, James Wan's in there too. Yep.
Like it was just such a full circle moment, man. And I do want to touch one more time on like the aging thing, because I was talking about this today with my girlfriend, and seeing this movie, it made me feel like seeing James Wan at the end there was such one of those, like the guy that started it. And he's there at the very end. It made me feel so much older because, man, like, I mean, we come from a generation. It's safe to say that all three of us we come from around the same age, the same time. And for us, like, there's not going to be James Wan like there was for us. There is no more action stars, no more comedians like how we had growing up. Like now we've seen the industry change where it's more about the amount of followers that you have, the more influence that you have, instead of the sheer ability to actually move people on screen and just having that talent. But to see this movie, it was just saying goodbye to this horror legacy that he created. And it was just incredible. Like that was incredible. It was sad because we felt like, especially seeing all those families there, man, like it made me feel like, damn, like I mean, call it what you want it, and if you want to say that that these people, they were pulling like wool over our eyes or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be, but I mean, they somehow did help people, or give them some sort of comfort, and to kind of see that even in the movie it was nice. It's like you don't really think when they say 1,000 cases, but then you actually see all these people in a room, and you're like, wow, all these people were in distress, and regardless if it was real or not, these people showed up for them, and it was a nice moment.
Yeah, you got to appreciate the fact that this is based off of real people, even though there's some embellishment for dramatization. And the fact that you get to see, even in all the films, and then how they do it the same, kind of wrapping it up at the end, where you see the comparison of actual pictures of the real people and these incidents and the reports and everything, and kind of like the side-by-sides of these same shots of the people from the movies. I think it was a wonderful comparison, and adds a really nice special touch to that,
Yeah. So I'll start with my negatives, and then I'll get to my positives. My negatives of this story is that the ghost haunted house story in this movie is terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I'm sorry. I hated it.
It copies a little bit from the first.
Yeah.
It does.
Spirits in the land of that place.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I was actually okay at the beginning. I thought we were going to have a more traditional story. There were really no new ideas in the scares. There was nothing new. It was bloodier than any of the previous Conjuring movies. That's for sure. So that you could say that was a new element to it, but it didn't really do anything for me in the scare department. And I thought the way they wrapped this ghost story up was just silly as could be. Just like, everybody put your hands on the mirror, and then somehow, like, what?
It was lazy. Like, it felt lazy.
It was so lazy. The whole ghost element of this. And
didn't make
also,
sense how it drove it out.
No, and we also talked about, like, this demon was their very first case and the very last case. Also clearly exaggerated, embellished for the film. That's not the true story. Which also just brought Judy into all of it, and it just felt so forced, the ghost elements of this. It is by far, I think, my least favorite ghost story of The Conjuring. I think I'd rather take The Devil Made Me Do It, because that had an interesting premise.
And the demon had a name too.
Cool.
Yeah. That one was interesting compared to this ghost story. What this movie does really well. So that's my negatives. The ghost elements of this movie are a snooze fest. I was disappointed. What I ended up liking a lot about this movie was the way they treated Ed and Lorraine in the family. And we've kind of talked on that. Seeing them at the end of their career, I felt like it gave them beautiful family moments. I choked up when the son is asking for permission to marry Judy. I'm like, this is a beautiful moment. What, like, they're moving, leaving this behind, and they're going to be grandparents, and I love it. And then the wedding at the end, there was another scene I do not remember, but like, those moments, those family moments with the Warrens are what made this movie worth seeing, in my opinion. I think this movie is worth seeing for longtime fans of The Conjuring, just to see how they wrap up the story of Ed and Lorraine and the family. That's my thought. That was great. I would almost rather, in all honesty, as rough as it is to say this, I would almost rather have an hour long, just them wrapping everything up, seeing where they end up, epilogue, than that rather rough ghost story. I don't know what Annabelle was doing there. They didn't explain what this demon that's overseeing everything. Why does this demon want Judy exactly? Why? Like, it's just attached to the mirror. It's there was a whole lot of loose ends in this cursed object story that was disappointing. The other things, just talking about the original Conjuring, we knew in the original Conjuring the kids' names. We knew mom and dad's name. We knew about their relationship together. We knew what dad did for a living. He was a truck driver. We knew he was gone for periods of time. this family, I guess this is more for script. This family we knew next to nothing about, and we didn't really learn anything about them. We didn't really care about them. We got the key elements of the scares, and then we moved on. It was just like a bunch of haunted things happening, and next step. So I guess for story, what I have to give, we can jump into the scores now. So my score for the story is for Ed and Lorraine, and this is taking into account the movie Ed and Lorraine, not the real life Ed and Lorraine, who are controversial figures who many believe they scammed people. Many believe they were genuine, but we're not going to get into that. We're talking about the movie versions. So what they did in the movies, I thought was beautiful. The rest of the movie, I could take it or leave it. I am at a 3 on the story.
Same. I'm a 3 as well.
Yeah. It was hard, man, because this might be controversial, but I feel like if they would have gave me this movie of just the aftermath of all these cases for Ed and Lorraine, I'd rather have taken it more as a movie like that than them calling it a horror movie.
Yeah.
Because even though it had, I think, maybe 2 moments that kind of creeps me out briefly, like very briefly, it was just boring as far as for the horror aspect of it. I feel like the guy with the axe, the 3 demons, I'm not demons, but the 3 ghosts that were being puppeted by this demon that had no name, they were just kind of boring. Like he just seemed like an axe murderer.
Yeah.
Compared to the other ghosts or demons. The whole mirror thing, I felt like it was cheesy, especially towards the end where it just starts spinning. And I mean,
I thought it was going to spin into a demon.
Yeah,
no,
exactly. I thought something was going to happen with that. So I mean, I just wish they would have just focused on maybe the Warrens and not called it like, not made it seem like it was going to focus on the family and the haunting, because this was more of a touching type movie. It was more of an inspirational family type movie where they come together and they put their hands and it's all kumbaya and they get rid of the demon with the power of love.
Yeah, and that's exactly how that ended.
Yeah. So I'm giving it a 3. I mean, long story long, giving it a 3.
Jonathan, you gave your score?
Yeah, I said I was a 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's go into the characters and their arc. And this was another one that I had to step back and I'm like, I'm not going to grade the arc of Ed and Lorraine from the first movie to this one. I'm going to have to look at this movie. And there's a nice little arc for them in this movie. It's not tremendous, but we have them really reluctant, really hesitant at the beginning, and they're that way all the way through. But the moment that stood out, in spoiler territory again, for the arc, this was the culmination of their arc, is when we see the flashbacks of Lorraine telling Judy to do her little rhyme, which I thought was ridiculous. Do the little rhyme and tell it you're not real, you don't exist or something. And then at the end, Lorraine's like, no, that's not right. Face it. Turn around and face it. Stare it down. I'm like, it's cheesy. Okay, it's cheesy, but it is an arc for me. That is an arc, because I was sitting there when she was telling little Judy what to do. I was like, I don't think this is what Lorraine would actually tell their child to do. Like, you have to assert your dominance over these things. With anything we know from demon possession movies is that you can't give it power. So you have no power over me. Go away. Not like, you're not real. Like, that's not the case. So it rubbed me a little bit wrong, but I did like seeing that arc at the end when Lorraine's like, you know what? No, we have to stand and face this. So I did like that a little bit, but I also got to take in just the nice wrap up of the family, just that happy family time. We get a wedding. We see them. She has that vision of their future of having grandchildren and then great grandchildren. I was like, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Oh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
It's very touching.
Like, it was again, her seeing it as a vision, a little bit cheesy, but I'm going to take it. I took it. it made me tear up a little bit. I was happy with that element. That's all
They
I
felt
have for the character.
they felt like family, man. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
I think that's what we felt, because I never feel in any of the Conjuring movies, I've never felt that type of emotion. I'm like, I always wanted the good people to survive, the demons to be vanquished and all that. But with this movie, it actually made me feel like if I was watching something more dramatic. Um, I think for the character arc itself, to me, it was okay. For Lorraine's thing, I could understand her almost losing her baby once, or did lose her baby for over a minute in the beginning, her being afraid and not wanting her daughter to venture into that realm of confronting these demons and just wanting her as far away as possible. But I think the only arc to me that really stood out was Ed's. And it went
Okay.
from in the beginning of the movie where you see Ed kind of like feeling a little bit defeated because times are changing, but still fighting it, all the way to where he's at the doctor's appointment and the doctor's like, "Hey Ed, cut the shit." Like,
Yeah.
and then and he's like, "You cannot afford to have another heart attack." And throughout the movie, you start seeing Ed taking it more serious, all the way to the point where even Judy's fiance, you see Ed not wanting to accept that his baby girl has grown up
Yeah.
and not wanting to accept a fiance, and you see that arc between the father and the fiance almost
Dang,
like
that's
switch
true.
roles.
Yeah.
Because at the very end, when you see the fiance walking around the room and he looks at Annabelle and he just walks around like nothing is phasing him, and you see Ed's face, and that's when he realized he's going to take over my job
Of
now.
protecting Judy.
Yeah, I'm no
Yep.
longer protecting my daughter now. It's up to him. And that's when he throws them the keys. He's like, "You're the man of the house now, pretty much. So you're the warden now." And I thought that arc was phenomenal, but everything else was
Yeah,
just
the way you talk
subpar.
about it, I'm tearing up now. That was good.
You've seen it here first, guys. I made Tim tear up
Tim
alive.
crying on live stream.
You're right. No, that was good. No, because I didn't think about it that way, but definitely his reluctance,
Yeah.
like not even remembering the guy's name at first, and then
Yeah, Tommy. It's like, it's Tony.
yeah, and then just that reluctance of like, yeah, it's also a dad watching his baby girl grow up and leave the house, and yeah, that
It was awesome. Like with the scene where he's helping him fix the motorcycle and they were having that bonding. Like there was so many scenes. There was like 4 to 5 key scenes where you see Ed starting to see Tony more as a like as a good dude instead of just fighting him, because he fought so hard within himself to not give him a chance, and the guy kept proving himself no matter what. And even with Ed fought to save him when his leg was pinned and the mirror was trying to kill him, and Ed was
he was
just
like
there.
sleeving his foot. That was pretty brutal.
That painful looking dude. Jeez.
That was brutal. But yeah, Ed had me, man. Like that was very heartwarming.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Good points. Good points.
Yeah, but it's also like when they get Judy back from the attic and they're trying to do CPR. Ed's like, "I got it," but then he starts having his heart palpitations and tells Tony to take over. You know, that passing the baton, like, "Okay, I'm starting to fail here. You need to step in, be that protector." He does his thing, and it's awesome. And it's kind of goofy though, because that part where they're working on the motorcycle. If you saw the first movie, Ed was helping that first family repair that car. Parts, he knows how to do this stuff, but like, I didn't think to check the spark, like.
Well, because he's getting older. That's what it was, because his memory is not what it used to be. So it was kind of like.
Was it that, or was he giving Tony a chance?
But it's like so. Maybe. But the start of the movie, it starts in like the early '60s when they have Judy, and then this takes place in like '81, and it's like, okay, so Judy's like, she's still young. Just barely an adult, got this dude. And like, so they got to be in like they're like mid to late 40s, and I'm about to turn 42. It's like, bro, my brain's not working that bad. I'm not going to be forgetting shit like that. Like, come on. So he's a little off in that part for it. But just that sense of like Ed finally giving Tony a chance despite his reluctance at the start, and then fully accepting him at the end is great. Yeah, you do got to really appreciate that. And yes, it does feel like a family. Especially how like Judy lies to her mom in masks and tries to brush it off instead of just being straight up with her about what she's seeing and feeling, even though mom kind of has a hint it's there. It's like, yeah, that's some family shit right there,
Yeah.
But, you got to appreciate the actual, like the victim family in this too, man, because it's a big family. It's not just dead, and the kids that got the grandparents involved in as well, and how they're all getting beat up by this thing.
Yeah, Grandma got thrown down the stairs. That was brutal.
When
We
that
didn't see
light,
it, but
when that dinner table light slammed down, that was intense, man.
yeah,
that was cool. I did like that part, but yeah, that's pretty much really it in character development. You know, like you guys already mentioned everything with Tony proving himself, and with them, you know, Ed and Lorraine accepting their aging part of it, but they get that sense of renewed kind of vigor though at the end, because after that incident, you know, it kind of like resurged people being interested when you see them giving another lecture at the end there, and everyone actually looks intently focused instead of being mocked and being like, oh, what about the Ghostbusters? You didn't get slimed. Haha. It's like, you know what? Shut up, kid. This is real shit, you know?
That's right.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah,
So they get a little bit of justification at the end there by, you know, getting that group focus back, which is cool.
Yeah, I agree. You guys made good cases beyond what I saw, and actually, I came up a little bit because I do think what's here is that family drama of the Warrens more so than the haunted family. I mean, they had stuff happen to them, but I didn't feel for any of them. I felt for Ed and Lorraine. This was their story. This is their story with Judy, Tony. And I actually came up a little bit. I gave it a 4 because there was a lot going on with the family that was good.
I felt bad for Father Gordon, that poor man.
Dude,
Oh,
yeah. his arc too. I mean, remember how he wouldn't go to the houses and stuff with them? Like he would always just like send them there. And the fact that it showed how much he cared about families and these people that he decided he's like, I'm just gonna go try to take care of it myself since they can't come. And it cost him his life, but he went out there on his own.
That scene was
big cojones on that father for sure.
Yep. Good guy.
To the very end, dude. Even when the cross was on fire and he refused, like his hand was being burned,
burning his hand. Yeah,
and he refused to let go of his faith, and like that was a big like that's when you knew it's like this guy is like till the end. Like,
yep. And that
full
was
faith
good.
believer.
Yeah.
That was good. I will say, I do wish for dramatic effect only. It's traumatic. I do wish it had lingered a little bit longer on his death. Like, it was so fast. He tied that cord and jumped, and I was like, let us sit with that for a minute.
And no more from the diocese about it either. The archdiocese had no other involvement in it, no other explanation, no kind of anything else about it.
We'll get to that stuff when we get to the script. But yeah, I was a 4, guys. You guys?
Yeah, I gave it a 3 just because I think that the family that was being haunted, it just felt like a Home Alone haunted movie. Like in the very beginning it was literally the scene of the first Home Alone when they're getting ready to, like they're all like everything's chaotic, and it's, I mean, and I get it was an homage to the 80s type thing, but I mean, besides Ed, everything else kind of felt a little short for me character arc. So I think Ed, that's why I gave it a 3, just because of Ed and Tony.
That Home Alone comparison was perfect, by the way, because I just thought like it was chaotic. You can't really pick up what anybody's saying. You just hear noise, and that's perfect comparison.
I'm a 3 as well.
High five.
All right. I was generous. So next one, we have music and sound design. So this is one, guy, I don't have much to say.
There's some good tracks. There's some good tracks in here. You got The Cult, you know, that's a great thing for the 80s.
We did have good licensed music, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there was some good licensed music. Some of the music during the wedding at the end there, really good, like old school classic stuff that really felt warm and inviting. But the rest of this, the soundtrack itself, I don't know. It had really good emphasis in the parts where it really wanted to build up that tension, which I think was great. Other than that, the rest of it is more about the sound design versus the music, just because of the sound effects and everything. You know, when you hear the hissing and smoking of the holy water in the basement, you know, the chopping of the axe on stuff, you know, everything just beat and twisted around, the boards creaking, you know, falling through everything. It's a lot of sensory noise going on in a lot of those parts, which that's cool. I can dig that.
This was composed by Benjamin Wallfish, who is no stranger to horror films. It looks like for composer, I'm trying to figure out exactly. He composed The Conjuring, Last Rites, The Predator, Killer of Killers, Until Dawn recently, Wolfman recently, Alien Romulus. He was composer for that. He did Twisters. He did the Flash movie from 2023. That movie was garbage. The Invisible Man by Lee Wanell. Fantastic film. The original Shazam. Like, he did It. He composed the music for It. Annabelle Creation. So he's no stranger. Lights Out. He's no stranger to the genre at all. And I think that was evident. He knew how to work a scene. I'm just not sure it stood out to me. That's all I got. Johnathan did a better job than I did. But GC, your thoughts on music and sound design?
So as far as for music, I gave it a 4 because the licensed music, I loved it. It made me feel like I was in the 80s and all that. As far as for the sound design, I thought it was good. I thought it was decent. I think that maybe it helped because the theater I was in, they had a good surround sound where I could hear certain little cracklings, the whisperings. I know one scene in particular was the scene at the Italian dinner table with the Warren family, where they're having dinner in the beginning, close to the beginning of the movie. And the daughter, she just starts doing that little rhyme, the whisper, to kind of keep the demons at bay. And before you see her doing it, the camera's focused on Lorraine, but then I could hear it around me. And then I couldn't make out what it was. And then you see Lorraine, and then you see that hand on the shoulder and everything. But I know that part has nothing to do with the sound, but I thought it was good. I mean, there was moments where with the axe, the same thing. It was just, it didn't sound like a sound effect. It sounded real.
Yeah.
So even with the hanging, you hear the sound of the noose with the body hanging and swinging. I thought that was good. I think the cracking of the mirror was like pretty good. Like it was very synced perfectly. So I think that's why I gave it a 4, but mostly leaning on the music.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it a 3. I thought it was good. And there was just nothing, I guess at this point, and maybe this is me being jaded, at this point with the 4th Conjuring movie, I'm like, it's all there. They did it all. Like, nothing stood out as like, there we go. That broke the mold and surprised me. It's like, yeah, you guys are just doing good like you've been doing for the last 3 movies. So yeah, I was a 3. I thought there was a good job, just didn't quite stand out to me as much. Not a whole lot in that category. But the editing and special effects category, this is an interesting one. What did you guys think of that?
I'm a 4, by the way.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Jonathan. I can't keep track.
Damn it. We failed
you. Bad.
You trusted us. And
just leave me out. Jeez.
I'm the worst.
We're synced, man. I'm telling you, me and Johnathan tonight,
I just get on a roll and then want to go to the next category. Well, did you have more thoughts on the sound, Johnathan?
No, I pretty much had all I had to say on it. It's just, I was a real big fan of the cult. She sells Sanctuary. That just felt very fitting for the movie.
Yeah. All right, now we can go to editing and special effects.
Get it.
See, I thought you were excited about editing and special effects.
I am.
Okay. You want to kick that off then?
Dude, the girl, the older sister, puking, just vomiting blood at the table, and the glass shards that come out.
Dude, that was rough. Yeah.
Oh, that was so great. That did, dude. I was just like, damn, that is brutal. And those little girls terrorized out of their minds by their older sister puking up blood.
Yeah.
That was great, man. It's so cool. But one of the biggest things, though, man, I mean, I know it seemed kind of cheesy, like you said earlier, but the spinning mirror thing going on while it's levitating and then just stopping out of nowhere, I thought that was pretty cool effect.
Yeah.
I had some good appreciation for that, and just the shadow in and out of shadow action that they had going on through a lot of the stuff. Though I think they used really well, even though it's kind of a regular concept in all the movies as far as effects. But I just really dug that, man.
Yeah.
Editing wise, everything seemed pretty good. Everything moved along quite well with the way they clipped all the scenes together. I don't really have any hating on that. I actually enjoyed the way they set it up for the most part.
Yeah. I think what you pointed out, yeah, we're competing with a football game tonight. That's what Evan said.
That's what I was thinking, because I realized that there was like 2 other people that told me they were talking about football, and I was like, oh, that's right. There's like football today.
Yeah,
Oh, it's the foosball.
I don't watch football. It's also why we don't normally do Sunday nights, but it's a
Yeah.
new movie. I want to be on top of it. But because I did ask a couple other people to join us, and they're like, "Sorry, man, football," and I'm like,
Football.
I watched the Super Bowl maybe, and that's it. So I can't relate.
Same.
I can't relate. But
Same, dude. I was just like, I'm all right. I'd rather do The Conjuring.
Yeah.
what Johnathan mentioned, that bloody vomit, I was impressed because it changes color as she's spewing, and I know that's possible, but it went to red. Like she was vomiting cereal or whatever at first, and then it turns red in the same shot, and I was like, that was cool. That was good. I haven't seen that before, and that was nice. Also, like I said, there was just way more blood in this one than any of the other Conjuring films that we've seen. Evan, that's a killer double feature. Conjuring and Weapons.
Dude, yeah.
At the drive-in? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I do hope you're closing with Weapons. It's just my 2 cents.
I would say that's the way to
go. I will tell you, the CGI giant Annabelle doll made me roll my eyes. I was really that scene. At first, I thought they were doing stop motion with it. The way she stood up off the floor, I thought it was going to be stop motion, and I was like, that would be sick. But then she quickly kept growing and went CGI.
It's really jerky.
Yeah, I was stop motion. That's a great way to do Annabelle coming alive. I'd be here for that, but that would probably take forever. I don't have a whole lot more to say. The editing was tight. It was good. Like Johnathan said, it kept the pace moving, but there's nothing again that really stood. I don't know if I was putting it in direction, but it's also part of editing. Is this movie was dark, and that is something to like. It bothers me. So we had the amazing Robert Eggers' Nosferatu that showed you can shoot a movie in the dark and still see things. This movie was so dark you couldn't always see things, and that kind of bothered me. So I kind of lumped that into editing, but that's all I really have on that category.
You know, there was one particular effect. Well, there was 2. There was 2 moments where I was like, damn, that really rocked my world. And it was when the mom is downstairs doing laundry and you see that dark axe figure just standing there in the shadows. And at first it's like, like at first when you were saying about the movie being dark, I kept staring because I was like, I know the camera's pointing there for a reason. Obviously we know The Conjuring. If there's a dark corner, there's something there. Sometimes it doesn't show something, but it just, the darkness gets, darker. And with that scene where out of nowhere you see like a guy just standing there, and then as soon as she turns on the light, it's almost like they kept rolling. Like it was so damn good, that edit. That one, and then the one with the when the Warrens are at dinner and you see the hand all of a sudden on Judy's shoulder. I thought that was like out of nowhere. Like it even took me a second because the hand was already there and I'm staring, but it was so almost camouflaged in that it took like out of nowhere. I'm like, wait a minute, there's no random hand there. So I thought
it reminded me of the hand from The Ritual on the tree.
Oh yeah,
like you didn't really see it until it pulls away.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought that was great. I thought I felt like when they tried to go big with the special effects, it was kind of like I've seen it type thing, like rolling your eyes. But with the small stuff, I felt like the small stuff stood out a lot more. like when that ceiling light falls down and it hits that girl in the forehead, and all of a sudden she's on the floor, and then the blood just starts coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It looked so natural, so
Yes.
good. Like stuff like that. The fact, like the scene where she was rewinding the tape to see when she blows out the candle to see that face there. Like that was something I didn't really care for. I felt like the face was just. I felt like they could have done better with that. And
It
it looked,
was too photoshopped almost.
yeah,
It looked fake.
yeah,
That's yeah.
it looked very fake. But besides that, I mean, the cross on fire on the father's hand, that I thought was phenomenal. Even with his eyes turning red, like you see the little veins in the eyeballs and stuff. I mean, again, the little stuff was phenomenal. The big stuff was okay. Seen it done better. Um, like with the mirror started levitating, I thought it was cool. But then once it started like doing all this other stuff, I was like, okay, realistically, now we know this is part of the movie. This didn't actually happen to the Warrens, where this freaking like 100-pound mirror started levitating and spinning and all that. Um, but yeah, it was like I thought the editing and special effects were good. I mean,
So I did look up. I wanted to see the actual case. Actual case doesn't seem super remarkable. It wasn't so extreme. The Warrens quit doing them afterwards. That wasn't the way the marketing for this movie made it sound. That's what we were expecting. There were a couple things in this movie that actually happened. The light falling from the ceiling and hitting the girl was one of the things that happened in the actual case. The dog being thrown against the wall, which dog survives this movie, unlike Conjuring 1. So dog survives this movie.
that was
The
brutal.
dog being thrown against the wall happened in the real case. Grandma falling down the stairs happened in the real case. Apparently it happened with multiple members of the family in the real case. Something this movie didn't show us was there was some SA that happened in the real case.
Oh,
With apparently the ghost assaulted the dad or something like that, and that was reported to have happened in the original case. And this movie didn't go into that at all, but that would have been terrifying. That would have taken it to another level.
Wait, no, it did show it. It
well,
did
he's
show.
being like the sleep paralysis was being levitated above the bed.
Yeah, and you see her on top of him.
Okay, in a
Yeah,
way, yeah.
She was kind of like, yeah, like for anybody who doesn't know, because it took me a second to realize what SA was. It's diddling. So,
yeah.
So the dad got diddled by a ghost.
Yeah, I was trying not to get flagged and just say it, but yeah.
It's hard, man. Yeah.
Now that you say that, that scene, like they did an interpretation of it with his sleep paralysis. That scene, that was one of the better scenes in the movie. Again, I wish I'll get into. There's one reason why I have so many issues with this movie, and I'll get to it later. But the editing, special effects for me, I was a 4.
Same. I was a 4.
I was at a 5.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, like with the father, the flame, the use of the creeping shadows effects and everything, how everything just kind of darked and dim when things were getting really deep and heavy with the spirits. You know, there was a lot of good various parts of action there, the levitation bits, and you know, I had a good appreciation for it, especially along with the way they edited all together.
Yeah.
And then the thing with the mirror room when Judy's getting fitted for her dress, the glass and everything. I thought that was really cool.
The levitation where the camera, it kind of does this panning thing, that trick to show you that he's coming up off the bed. I thought that was so damn good.
It was.
Like, it reminded me of like weapon style editing.
All right. And
script. We're on to the script. This is my biggest issue with the movie. Because I said in the story, I don't think any of the story elements in this are necessarily bad, other than I think having the mirror be their first case connected to Judy's birth and then the last case and pulling Judy. I think that's super cheesy. I think that is so cheesy. I also think hindsight, this is like where Marvel planning could have done better, is if they knew they were going to do this, put those seeds throughout all 4 movies and then culminated in this one. instead of having it all happen in this film, because we've seen plenty of Judy, and then this is the first movie we see this mirror. So that's that aside. The script didn't do anything for the family that was being haunted. It didn't help. The daughters were jerks to each other.
Yeah.
They're like, all they did was yell at each other the whole time. I didn't feel bad for either of them.
Typical teenage bitches.
Yes. And then, like I said, the first one, we knew about the family through dialogue. Mom and dad had a conversation about bills and what he was doing for work, and should he take this truck job, even though it meant he was going to be gone, but it meant they could do something. Like, they had conversations that told us about their life, and we could sympathize with that. That didn't happen in this movie. Like GC said, it was the opening of Home Alone where everybody's running around yelling at each other, and you don't get any depth to how they relate to each other, any of that. There's a lot missing from the family dynamic here. Outside of that, the war and family and the haunting stuff felt so convenient. Everything was just a little bit too easy or left open-ended. Like, there's a demon that was controlling the other three, but we never saw that demon. Previous Conjuring lore says that you have to know the demon's name to have power over it. That's established in The Conjuring Part 2.
Get him, Tim.
Yeah, and so somehow in this one, they overpower this demon that is apparently just a mirror. We never see this demon. It is a mirror. Apparently, all they had to do was put their hands on the mirror and push.
Kumbaya.
And, like, it was too convenient. It is just like, oh, right, okay. And it doesn't, like, that doesn't work for me. I think the story ideas they had and elements they had are fine. Then you got to write why. You got to explain how this works. The other thing that bothered me is, what's Annabelle doing there? Is Annabelle the demon? Because if Annabelle's that demon that's been following Judy, how is Annabelle attached to the mirror that is bothering things? Also, we know Annabelle has been following Judy since, like, movie 1. That's the thing. And so that just felt like, oh, Annabelle's here because it's a Conjuring movie. We got to have Annabelle following Judy. And it just felt like, explain that. That is what I didn't get what she was doing there. There was just a lot of little convenient things that don't fit with established Conjuring stories or help to establish what is going on in that film. So I was just confused. I was just confused by some of the haunting stuff, and I needed the script to do a better job of conveying that. The other thing that this is nitpicking after this, the other stuff, I don't think that was nitpicking. I'm being nice on on that. The one other thing that drove me crazy was Lorraine just too much. Judy, what's wrong? Judy, what's going on? Judy. Like, it happened too many times. Like, find another way to have that conversation instead of Lorraine just, Judy, tell me. Like, write that a little bit better is all I'm asking. All I'm asking. So that's my thoughts on the script. I think I could live with the story elements if we had tightened up the script a little bit.
Yeah. I want to reply to Evan's comment and say it's not nitpick, it's Tim pick.
It's Tim picking.
Tim picking.
It's Tim picking. I like that.
Dude, I mean, everything you said was perfect. I wanna piggyback on that because you touched on a few points, right? Lorraine sounded like that self-conscious boyfriend or / girlfriend where they're like, what's wrong? What's wrong?
Yeah.
Every 2 minutes
So insecure.
it was so insecure, so annoying. And it was like, dude,
who are you texting?
who are you texting? Who is that? Who made you laugh? Who's haunting you? But man, Lorraine, I felt like she's always been such a badass in all the movies, and she had dominion over every demon and everything. No matter how dark it got, she always kept her cool. And I get it, she's a mom, and I could understand that trauma of the baby. Like I couldn't. That's definitely something where it's like that's her Achilles heel. But at the same time, is that she's seeing everything that's happening to her daughter. And I don't know about you guys, but if my daughter, if I saw a creepy demon hand on her shoulder, instead of asking her what was wrong, I would be like, hey, I know you're not telling me something, and this is what I'm seeing. We need to figure this out. Because
I
it's
can
like,
see this shit too, right? Like,
yeah, like you keep
Yep.
letting your daughter being haunted by all these demons, and you know, like this is a big bad, and you're still just kind of like, what's wrong? Instead of just jumping in and be like, no, we're exercising the shit out of this demon out of you or whatever.
Yes.
But dude, the script, I felt like the family, the haunted family, was just like a Home Alone spoof type situation. They provided no, there was no reason for me to care about them at all.
None.
It was just there was nothing. They gave me nothing to care about them at all. There was not a single moment in the movie where I was like, "Oh, I hope they're okay."
Shut
I
up. Wait.
yeah, I was like, "Get
No,
them out of
sorry.
here."
I was just looking at who wrote it. He also wrote The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Damn, that's a good
what?
movie.
That was a
That's
phenomenal
a great
movie.
Yeah, dude, I love that movie.
Wow,
Freaking
that's surprising. Oh, jeez.
That movie
see,
justifies everything it does. But anyways, GC, keep going. Sorry.
no, yeah, I mean, so I wonder if this was studio involvement then, because I mean, if the Autopsy of Jane Doe is phenomenal,
Mhm.
and then for this movie was more focused on like on the family aspect of the Warrens coming to an end. That part, the script was fantastic, but everything else, it's just this is Weapons to me all over again. For anybody that still hasn't seen Weapons, which I know Evan, you haven't. Shame on you. It's been already a few weeks. Kidding, but this is a spoiler, so just cover your ears or take off your headphones real quick. Give me like 10 seconds. Weapons fails because they said it was horror movie of the year, this and that. And to me, Weapons is a very social type movie that's talking about real life stuff instead of like that's the horror base of it to me.
Yeah.
And this is what this movie is. This is a family haunting movie. This is not like, oh my god, like with all these warning caution, you might have a freaking heart attack or throw up or pass out in the movie theater. This is not it.
The
This is
marketing of the priest like blessing people with holy water before.
yeah, like this is not that movie at all. You're not going to get possessed watching it. I've already heard on the news today that some guy supposedly got possessed watching the movie.
I saw
Guys,
that.
that's a
Same.
marketing stunt. Like, listen, the demon didn't even have a name in the movie. Do you think
Nope.
you're going to get possessed from a demon that doesn't have a name? I mean, if we've all learned something, but I felt like The
Not
Conjuring, dude, this movie, The Conjuring, it went away from the original. Like the whole plot, the whole point of the demon having a name so you could have dominion over it, gone out the window. Like they changed all the rules in this movie. And it
We
just
can name the first one. The demon's name is Bathsheba.
Sheba. Okay, because I
Oh,
don't even
that's
remember
right.
any of
Yeah.
them.
And the second
It's
one was
Bathsheba.
Valak.
She's
Which-
the mom, and the second one is Valak.
And the second one, that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that one up because in the second movie, the demon's using the ghost of the old man as a puppet.
Yeah.
And they did this. They did the same shit in this movie. They used the ghost as a puppet. They just regurgitated, recycled all the movies into one, and it was just on that aspect as a haunting and a horror. It was okay. As a family, motivational for you to keep your parents and your loved ones close. Definitely thumbs up for me on that part of the script. Acceptance, all that stuff, realizing when you're wrong and all that, all those good little bits of, making you a better person. It was there. Everything else was just, it fell below the waistline for me. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, no, you guys definitely dig in and you make a lot of good points. I feel like maybe I was still like so fresh off the hype. Maybe I overscored a little bit, but for me, it's more about some of the practical parts of the dialogue. Like when Tony is trying to talk to Ed and Lorraine about wanting to propose, trying to get their blessing.
Nailed it.
So awkward, so realistic, so believable.
Yes.
And just the way that whole scene played out. When Lorraine and Judy get to the dress shop and that girl that works there cracking her jokes, like, "What you do me a reading? Oh, I know you don't do that, blah, 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 blah." you know, just those little jib jabs, you know, someone just being kind of a dick, you know, and so it's a lot of small stuff like that. And then the conversation, especially when Tony and Ed are making the pancakes for the family, and Tony's like, is this always part of the process? Blah, blah, blah. And then Tony opens up about why he quit being a police officer and that whole aspect of it. Man, I really dug into that, and I really felt that part because Tony was being straight up like, man, I'm a dead man because of what happened with this situation and why he quit without trying to give away too much.
Yeah.
You know, then just the look on Ed's face and his acceptance of being like, okay, that's some real shit, you know. When it comes to like the dialogue aspect of it, that really hits home. And, you know, with Lorraine at the end, talking about that vision she had for them at the end, you know, and seeing how enriched and full their lives will be towards the end, that set really well. But another big key part, though, the haunted family, when the oldest daughter's flipping out at the dinner table with dad, and it's like, it's either you don't believe just because it hasn't happened to you, or you're just helpless to do anything about it. You know, that part of it, that was awesome. I really felt that part.
That was good.
One good line from the family. That line was great. I agree. That stood out.
Because she was losing her shit on her dad about it, and that was awesome. That was good, hard-hitting dialogue for me.
Could I ask you guys a question? Why is it that every single one of these haunted house movies, the family, the excuse is always, we can't afford to leave, so we just deal with getting ghosted old and tormented and all that stuff because we can't afford to leave? Like every single one. Have you noticed that?
It always seems to happen to lower middle class families that can't afford to buy a new home.
Why doesn't the rich get possessed and
the rich
haunted?
Don't get
economic hauntings, bro.
Dude, I swear it's only freaking the lower middle class.
I do think Poltergeist would be, I think for the time Poltergeist was made, they were living in an upper class neighborhood. Because it was an upper class neighborhood that built on Indian burial ground.
Yeah. But that was, I think, also his job. That's why he got to live there, because of his job, right? Because I don't even think like it was like free housing or something, because he worked for them or something.
That's true. So
he wasn't even rich either.
We don't see rich people get haunted. It's just another perk of being the Bezoses of the world is you don't have to worry about getting haunted.
I'm too rich to be ghosted.
There we go. Guys, work hard, make a bunch of money, and ghosts won't even bother you.
There you go.
This too rich to care if he gets haunted. Whatever. What's the point?
You never work a day in your life if you love it. That's a good point. Jonathan, were you done with your thoughts on script?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. You brought up a good point. That daughter laying into dad. That was a good line about being powerless to help. And I agree. Kind of piggybacking, like we've all said. I think the Ed, Lorraine, Judy, what's his name? I think those are the strengths of the film by far. I think the extra stuff is rough. I'm a 3.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with Evan said. Score my heart. I went 4 on it.
Dude, score with your heart. You
know what, guys? Jonathan, I'm gonna have to break your heart here, but I gave it a 3. I gave it a 3. Dude, okay. I had to. It was one of those. Yeah, I unfortunately the Ed and Lorraine story was fantastic. Everything else, but that, like you said, that dinner table scene with the daughter, I thought that was, dude. I mean, that was such a perfect delivery. And how do you answer that at that point? You know, that was so good. So I'm glad you brought that one up.
Yeah, me too.
Dad can't say shit to that. It's just, he's like, well, I'm either a bitch or a bitch. You know,
he's like, damn it, you're right. On to the acting then. This is one that this is easy to praise because Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are the reason we have tuned in to every one of these movies. Yep. They are our Ed and Lorraine. They are captivating. They're so much fun to watch. They are the reason we have an emotional connection to them at this point in the 4th movie. They've been in 5. They have a very small part in Annabelle Comes Home. They're in that one as well. That one's just a brief like bridge between I think 2 and 3. But they have a part in that one too. But they are so good in this. Is it Tomlinson who plays Judy in this? She did a nice job as Judy. Judy has had 4 different people play her by this point. Yeah, Mia Tomlinson played Judy. And I thought she did a good job of playing Judy. I'm just trying to, other than we kind of hit on, Lorraine seemed a little bit more insecure in this movie than she has in the past. And outside of that characterization, they are the reason I felt any kind of emotion about the proposal scene, about the wedding, about his heart. They do such a good job throughout from movie 1 to now. And I feel like they've grown in it. And more than anything, I felt like this wasn't just a farewell to the Conjuring series. I felt like it was a farewell to Ed and Lorraine by these two. And that's what I've grown to love. So I don't know that I can pick a particular scene in this that I was like, wow, that was good acting. I was just watching it and realizing I've watched these two play these characters since 2013. And I've loved the time. Not every movie's amazing, but I've loved watching them play these characters.
Yeah, I think they did a fantastic job. I know Patrick Wilson, as far as for Aquaman, but as
I thought he was
far
great in Aquaman. I'm an Aquaman defender. I love the Aquaman movie.
the first one was good. It was just the other one was
the other comical. The second one,
yeah.
Yeah.
But
well, that's because I think they replaced Amber Heard with Patrick. I think it was supposed to be Amber Heard, and they put Patrick Wilson in after all the Johnny Depp drama.
Yeah, that's true. They probably changed it up. And
yep. So I think that's the reason for that. But Aquaman aside,
yeah, Aquaman aside, I think Patrick Wilson. I mean, I couldn't picture anybody else than Vera and Patrick playing these roles.
No.
They did such an amazing job. Where, I mean, even the actors that played the young version of them in the very beginning, when they started crying when the baby was a stillborn, I mean, that was so, like, it was so believable. The way all the way to the hospital when he's driving that beautiful Mustang and just hauling ass in the rain, and she's screaming and she's like, "There's something wrong." Those actors crushed it. And then obviously Patrick and Vera. I mean, they, like, even when he's having the heart issues and stuff, and you even see it in his eyes when whenever he's interacting with the fiance of their daughter, like, he did such a good job just not even saying anything and saying enough with that silence. Like the way he just stared, the mannerisms, he looked like an uncomfortable dad that was not happy with her daughter dating anybody. So he did great with that. I mean, I even thought to the very end, I mean, they killed it, man. They made the franchise what it is. I always rooted for them. And it's funny because seeing the real people, Ed and Lorraine, in real life, like the pictures and stuff, you see them and you're like, I know, to me, just looking at them in pictures, I'm like, it's a 50-50 if they're real or not. But then Patrick and Vera always made me feel like everything that happened was real.
Yes.
They always convinced me. So
right on. Well, you also got to consider, once again, you got child actors involved in this, and with the whole family scenes, how believable it is, kids acting like kids. And that one scene where the talking baby doll is doing their thing, sitting up and levitating, and that little girl just being scared out of her mind, just witless. Got to give credit to those kids for being as awesome as they were in that. But everybody overall had really great delivery in all of this.
Yeah.
So I don't really have anything bad to say on the acting. I think it was full marks on this because they kicked ass on it.
All right. So full marks from Johnathan?
You get a 5?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Nice. I gave it a 4. And that almost all of that goes to Vera and Patrick. I just love them So
Judy's
Yeah.
Possession though was really good though.
Hmm?
Judy's Possession though,
That was good.
I thought that
yeah.
was
she
great.
did a good job.
Creeped the shit out of everybody. Was very vicious, evil.
She doesn't
think
have
did
a
a great
whole
job.
lot of stuff to her name. She's been in maybe 6 things, a lot of British TV, some Netflix series. Not a whole lot, but she was very good in this. She was very good. I agree. Yeah, I'm a 4. GC.
I gave it a 4, man. I mean, like I said, I think everybody did a great job. The ones that stuck out with Vera, obviously, and Patrick. The daughter stuck out to me, mainly the possession part. I think the fiance crushed it. He really sold it for me. Like, he really made me like him. I think to me, he was the most likable character in the entire movie. Um, and especially that story that he talks about with Ed when he's telling him why he retired from being a cop. When he said that, it was so believable to me. He did such a great job, and it's funny because this guy, and I don't know if you guys have seen. I mean, obviously, you guys have seen the first Final Destination, and I'm sure you guys have seen Idle Hand. But
Oh, yeah, I love Idle Hands.
doesn't he remind you of Devon Sawa somehow? Like, or no? Like, he resembles him, like like if he's like related to him or something. But as soon as I saw him on screen, he's like, "Is this the new generation's like Devon Sawa or something?" But
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah.
it looks definitely there. Yeah.
What has that kid done too? I'm
He
gonna
was
look him up. I'm gonna look
he
him
wa-
up while you keep talking.
I think he was on Six Underground with I think that's what it's called with damn it, what's his name um um from
From a
Van
soap
Wilder.
opera, EastEnders.
But he was in that action movie on Netflix with
Oh, 6 Underground. Yeah,
yeah.
he was in X. Oh, he was Angel
Oh.
in X-Men Apocalypse. That's why. I mean,
That's
not a
he
great.
was. Yeah,
Okay. I thought he looked familiar, but I couldn't remember what from.
He was Roger Taylor in Bohemian Rhapsody.
He was, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
looks. He was. I agree. He was good. He was really good. He was
was
super
weird.
believable.
I'm used to seeing him in different roles. So like this was the first role I've seen him where he's very vulnerable and very like just very nervous. Like throughout the whole movie was just him wanting to be accepted and nervous and just trying to be understanding and stuff. And I mean, I've never seen him in this type of role, and he just crushed it for me.
Yeah.
Like I want to see him more stuff like this because he's good at action, like fantastic at it. But he was also like he has range. Like I was very surprised.
I haven't seen much of his other stuff outside of X-Men Apocalypse, but
Yeah.
which is neither here nor there as far as movies go. But
Dude, Six Underground is pretty fun. Like it's
is
really.
it?
I mean,
Okay.
if you like Michael Bay, you like explosions, you're gonna love the movie. Great
I-
I'll have to
cast.
check that one out.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're all pretty high marks on the acting. So it's time to get into direction. I said I would eventually get to the reason why I dislike this movie, or not dislike, that's not the right word, why I have so many issues. And these issues, for me, come down to the direction. I have decided I do not like Michael Chavez as a director. I have decided that. It is a long time coming. I liked his first movie, La Llorona, and I was excited when I heard he was doing The Devil Made Me Do It because I was like, he's got style. He's got style. I'm all right with that. So I was excited to see him do The Devil Made Me Do It. Since then, he's done La Llorona, Devil Made Me Do It, The Nun 2, and this movie. And each one I have liked less than the one before it. So I don't know what that is. I don't know. This movie bothered me, and maybe it is because we had just talked about the original Conjuring. And James Wan is a master storyteller with the camera. He is a master of it. But I distinctly remember in our episode with GC and Steven from After Hours and Jordan from the Movie Den, we talked about James Wan uses the camera in a way that makes you feel like you are present in the room when stuff is happening. Chavez does not do that.
No, not
He
even
does.
close.
Yes. And he either uses extreme close-ups, which is just something that I kind of hate no matter where it's at, who's doing it. I'm not a fan of extreme close-ups. I think they can be used effectively sometimes. To do it like when they were making pancakes, I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need an extreme close-up of you cracking an egg in a bowl. What purpose does that serve? I guess, they're making breakfast. Okay, fine. I get that if he's standing over a stove pouring pancakes. It's the same thing. But it also took away from the scares. Like, there were multiple times in the original Conjuring where we're following the mom through the house, and I just remember this so clearly. We're following her through the house, like we're peering over her shoulder. And then she looks into the kitchen, and the camera pans around, keeping her in frame, but we go from looking where she's looking to looking behind her, and the door opens. And now we're in on a secret that she doesn't know about yet, but she heard, and we see that. And Chavez doesn't do that. He doesn't use the camera to tell a story. He uses it well, but it's frustrating to watch how amazingly James uses it in 1 and 2. And to see Chavez is stylish. He's got style, but it doesn't have that realism that Juan had in the first 2 films. The first 2 films felt like movie versions of actual events. These 2 films feel like stylized movies based on a true story. So it's just, and that is nitpicking. I know it's Tim picking. But it's too stylish compared to the first 2 movies is what I'm getting at. And he was doing some like focus shifting in this movie that just made me mad. I'm like, why are you doing that? You're doing it because somebody did it in the Batman and you thought it looked cool. And now, but in the Batman, it told a story by bringing some things into focus and some things out. And in this one, there was that scene. It was the scene when Lorraine is talking to little Judy about, say the riddle. And there was a moment when nothing was in focus. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Use it as a storytelling element and it works. Use it because you're trying to be artsy, bothers me. That being said, there were some things that I thought he did really well. I did like the establishing shot of the family when the car pulls up and we follow from the car through the door, through the house, and see it was Home Alone, but it was one continuous shot. I appreciated that. I thought it was cool, even if it was a little bit CGI, when Tony at the end I think he runs up to the back door and the camera pans quickly overhead, spins, and then back down through the front door.
Really liked that one.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. The CGI was pretty obvious in it, but for effect, I was like, that was nice. I liked that. Some more of that, because that shot told a story. He's trying to get in the back door. The action's happening in the front. Like, that established that worked for me. So Chavez is not a complete loss. I didn't finish The Nun 2 because I thought it was boring as heck. And maybe I should finish it because I've heard the end of it is good. But I still remember there's a scene in The Nun 2 when she's at a newspaper stand and the wind blows and the nun appears in the magazine covers. Like, Chavez is stylish. That is stylish, but I don't know that it scares me.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have that rawness that Juan captured so well. So that's my rant on Michael Chavez, and why this movie falls short for me is I am going to put it squarely on his shoulders. So sorry, Michael. Sorry.
Well, me and Bodhi here, we're gonna Tim pick a little bit because, and that's gonna be a saying. I want a T-shirt. Tim picking. You get 2, and we'll just put like a star underneath, like 1 through 5, and be like, give it a 2, give it a 3.
Yeah, it's gonna be 3 outline stars and 2 solid stars. Tim picking.
Tim picked. Like, I mean, man, you're right. I felt like this movie That dude's stylish. He will give him credit. He has style. I feel like if it was an action movie, it would have been suited more for his style.
Yeah.
If it was kind of like one of those intense type scenes, but for this, it didn't make me feel scared. I think when the priest, he decided to hang himself. I think that angle that he chose, where it's like the camera's pointing towards his feet and crotch, to me, it was just I rather had seen the height that he jumped from and seen how high it was instead of just not showing that. I think that would
Yeah.
have been a little scarier of him hanging like 5-6 floors, but then you don't really see that. And it was just, yeah, it wasn't. I mean, that scene where the camera goes over the house and it goes through that door, that was actually, again, very regurgitated from the second movie. In the second movie, it shows when Lorraine's going around the house to go in through the basement and the
You're
camera
right.
pans overhead and stuff. The only difference is that obviously the camera doesn't go through the door. But besides that, dude, I mean, yeah, I think with the direction of it, it was okay. It was okay, but it just a lot of stuff that was blurry. It made no sense. I was like, are my contacts dry? Like, what's happening? It just I felt like there was this movie. There was certain scenes where it seemed like the movie was trying to be something else because of the editing. Like with the blurriness. Normally you use something like that if somebody's waking up or if they're having a memory or something
Mhm.
like that, or a flashback, or an illness or something's happening and they're like, oh, I'm losing my sight. But with this, like, there was no reason to do that. Like, who's impaired while making pancakes? Like, why are like these are like, it's just crazy to me.
Drunk
Um,
people make pancakes.
and
Yeah.
and I'm sure they still see better than that blurriness. But it was just, yeah, man. I'm just gonna Tim pick the hell out of it. I think direction was okay. I
Yeah.
definitely I don't know. I don't know why they chose this director to come back, because clearly The Devil Made Me Do It didn't get the best praise.
Yes, that's what surprises me, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. Did nobody else want to do it because they knew what they were in for? They knew that that the studio was probably going to control a lot of it or something. Because I mean, guys, this was a cash grab. I mean, in the end of
Yeah.
the day, that's what it felt like.
I was hoping Juan would come back for the final one. I really
Yeah.
was. I really
And
was.
he
But
comes back and he's just there in the audience just watching all this unfold. And it's like, you get out of that freaking extra role and you get back in your seat and you finish what you started. If you're
I'm kind
watching.
of okay with it because you know why he's not there? He's
Why?
making Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
okay.
Forgive-
I'm here for a James Wan Creature from the Black Lagoon, man.
Yeah.
Sign me
And-
up.
And he's saving the Saw franchise from itself by taking the rights back. So I guess you're forgiven, James. You're
Yeah.
forgiven.
All right, James. All right, James. He knew
Yeah.
that this was a cash grab.
That's why he was smiling there. He was like, oh, I'm getting paid so much money right now to smile.
He still gets royalties off on every Conjuring movie.
This was the ultimate Saw trap. It was for the audience. It was just like, let's play a game. He's like, you have to sit through this movie for an hour and a half and figure out if it's a haunting movie or a family
Or a family
Hallmark
drama.
movie. Yeah.
So you guys hit on a lot of great points. So I don't really have too much to say on direction. I know you don't like those close-in shots, Tim, but the close-in shot though with the dad when he's levitating, when they're just
That
right
was cool.
in on his face, breaking out in that sweat, that realizing that terror after getting that just straight tongue lashing from his daughter, just because it hasn't happened to you, and now he's like, oh shit, it's happening to me. Seeing that fear on his face when he can't do anything. And then that secondary shot where it pans, where you start to see the spirit on top of him while he's levitating. I thought that was great effect on that, But aside from that, I don't really have much to say. But you guys have convinced me to drop my score, though.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I love to hear it, but
you know what I realized, guys, with that scene with the dad? So I think that was something that was happening to him reoccurring, because do you remember the dinner table scene where the daughter's like, oh, because it's not happening to you. And he does say, he's like, oh, it is happening to me. It's happening to all of us. So I think he didn't want to tell her because of the whole diddling thing. It's like, how is he going to tell his family that that's happening to him? So
I would have lost it
Getting
He's
his
sitting
junk
at the
tapped
dinner
by a
table.
ghost.
I'm getting diddled every night. Okay,
Yeah.
what?
He's
You
like,
you want to hear all about it?
he just looks at her. He's like, you don't know what my life is. Every night I'm woken up, levitating, being diddled. Like, you
That
don't
ex
know.
murderer's cheating wife is diddling him now.
Yeah, his cheating wife is sitting on me.
That's true. Dude, you just said something that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it
exactly
does.
why the wife, the ghost was a cheater, and she was doing that to him. Like, dude, that makes perfect sense. Now you see,
Yep.
look at us. I'm glad we did this. Putting
Hey, there's a little
Connecting
bit
the
of
dots.
Yep, connecting those dots. That made sense. So, unfortunately, my score for this movie, and I think it's just frustration after everything Chavez has put us through. It's a 2. I think he did an okay job. I'm not going to go out there and say it's bad. It is just so divergent from what James Wan set up in the first films. It's so stylish. It has removed the horror for me. It's too clean, too pristine. It looks like a big budget movie.
Yeah. I'm giving it a 3. I wish I could give it a 2.5, but I gave it a 3 just because
I can edit. I can put it in there. Yeah.
Dude, I think
we do half scores, but only for people who join us live. So
there we go. Whoever's watching this after the recording, yeah, now you know. But no, I think for me, I gave it that just because, I mean, Johnathan, that levitation scene, loved it. I thought it was so cool, that whole like type situation. And it's like, it's kind of the optical illusion, and it's like, oh, he's levitating. I mean, that sweat coming off of him. I don't know if they were spraying him or misting him. I don't know if they had a heater right over him. Yeah, they had like one of those blow dryers all over his face, making him sweat. But,
holy water.
Dude, yeah, they're just going like, James Wan is behind the scenes just trying to help.
Yeah,
he's like,
sprinkle.
But so good. That was so good. But yeah, that's direction wise, it's a little less blur next time, and a little bit more less big blockbuster, more horror,
Yes.
more gritty, a little more dirtier.
And so yeah, I'd like to change my score. I'm down to a 3.
Hey,
All right.
happy we could do that.
You're welcome.
All right, so the it factor, the cultural significance of this film. This is, I gotta say, I'm seeing a lot. Nobody is saying this movie is a home run. Nobody is saying it's excellent. I am seeing quite a bit say it's a good movie. I'm also seeing quite a bit saying it is terrible. So I'm seeing both. And to be honest, I understand both arguments, because I feel like I have said the same thing tonight. There are parts of this movie that I'd be fine if they were basically the entire Pitts, whatever, Pennsylvania family, remove it. Just give me the Warren storyline, and this movie's great. But that aside, I'm seeing quite a bit of conversation about it. I think more so the social impact of this film is the fact that this is marketed as the final in a franchise that has dominated the horror world for 10 years. More. It is marked as the end. And I don't think this is the end of the Conjuring universe. I think this is the end of Ed and Lorraine, especially since this has already broken some box office records and is the 3rd highest grossing in the franchise as of Sunday night. Like, it's making money, so Warner Brothers is going to want more. But what spinoffs are we going to get next? I think they're going to stray from Ed and Lorraine.
You think so? You think so? Because like,
Warner Brothers loves money.
Because we talked about it on the Cinema Rewind episode for the first Conjuring, how, I mean, and I think they probably tested this a little bit with the young actors of Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah.
I mean, they were really good. They looked just like so I
Especially
wonder,
Ed's younger version looked just about exactly like him. I was like, damn, that's a really good.
So I'm wondering, they could do a spin-off with them, with the young version of when they very first started, like the very first cases.
Some
And
filler stories.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah. Because
Actually, I was watching that and thinking how good those two were, and I was like, I'd watch them again.
Yeah. Because they could
I'd
have
watch them again. I just don't know if can I trust Warner. But no, you can't trust Warner Brothers. They're notoriously terrible.
Never trust the studio.
Yeah, but
they're liars.
It's which market this as the farewell to Vera and Patrick, but Ed and Lorraine will be back in a younger form as so and so. But I do think that is the big draw. The influence right now is people like, oh, this is the last one, and they're showing up for it. Because I mean, I'm 35 right now, and I've been watching these movies since I was 22. Like, it's been a big part of young adult life.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen every Conjuring movie, even if I didn't finish The Nun 2. I've watched all of them. So, like, it's a big deal.
I think it's definitely like an end of an era type situation. Like, I'm wondering if they'll probably pick up with the daughter because they focus so much on her and her powers. Yeah. So I'm wondering if maybe something like that, even though in real life, I don't think she did continue any of that.
That would move fully into the realm of fiction.
Yeah. Unless they focus on maybe Insidious or something else. But yeah, I mean, I think as far as for it, like cultural and significance and stuff like that, I think that this movie, I don't know, I don't think it's going to be talked about for too long at all. All I heard with them saying that it did better. It finally broke the curse and it did better than the last one, but it didn't. That's what they marketed as. They're like, oh, it did better, but it wasn't like, oh, it's like it's a game changer or anything. Like I think we all knew going into it that it was just the end of an era, just to give Vera and Patrick the proper goodbye. But I don't think this in 10 years, people are going to look back at this movie and be like, oh my God. Like, I think the first Conjuring is always going to be the one that people always talk about because it did things that other haunted house movies have not done. But this one is just, it was just it felt like the entire movie was a recap of all the other movies. That's all it was. It was just reminding you of every other scenario that every other movie had. There.
You said something that I was going to remark on and then I forgot about it, so Johnathan can take it away.
Considering that it's the end of a 4 set of the whole Conjuring universe, the fact that it had so many spin-offs though is amazing. And if they do carry on with Judy and Tony, that would be awesome, even if it's not based in any kind of like real life situations. That would be amazing to see where that spins out to. But when you look at their museum and the thousands of cases they have and all those objects that you see in there, there's so much possibility of story there that I would love to see if they were to do that with those younger version actors. I think that could be a straight win, but maybe not so much as movies, but maybe as a series.
I agree.
Maybe like an hour-long episode kind of situation. I think that would work well with all the different objects they have available and what kind of things you could potentially write up on that.
We're on the same wavelength. I said the same thing when I was with GC for the Cinema Rewind episode. I said I would give us 6 1-hour episodes a season and just really do the story well, drag it out. Think Haunting of Hill House, but for the Warrens. Give us that. I'm here for that. And you do it as a TV series like that, and it separates enough from Vera and Patrick that you don't feel like it's essentially recasting the roles. It's a different version. Yeah, same wavelength. I'm here because there's so many stories to tell. The thing we talked about on Cinema Rewind is we never got the Amityville house.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen more on that, considering like the Amityville horror and like the series of movies they have in that set. That could have been cool.
And Ed and Lorraine were there at Amityville, and like that could have been a sick movie if James Wan directed it.
Why did they pick? I mean, there's over 1,000 cases, and I get not every one was legit, but there's no way out of 1,000 it was 4 or 5 cases that were real. Like, I mean, supposedly if there was more, like, why not focus? I mean, I know the Amityville has been done, but I think somebody like James Wan, like especially that little tease that we got with
Yeah.
Amityville, like, I mean, that looked so good in that movie that they could have done something with it.
I'm also entirely on board with them doing the cases that people consider controversial and
Yeah.
aren't real, because I think that adds credibility to the story that you're telling. Is the thing I really appreciated about the second movie was, and I texted Johnathan last night when he was doing his marathon. I was like, I go back and forth. Sometimes I think the first one's the best. Sometimes I think the second one is. It just bounces back and forth for me and what I'm after at that moment. But I was like, sometimes I really like how they addressed the fact that people thought she was faking it.
Yeah.
I really like that they tackled that. And I'm like, you do that and address like, hey, this haunting is not real as some of the stories. I think that makes it better when it is real.
They should have showed us, like they showed us these stories, right? But they should have sprinkled in the fake ones, like you said, throughout
Yeah.
these Conjuring movies. So it kind of showed them on both sides, because they do address it in the movies when they're having conversations, especially the second one. They're like, oh, we've had a lot of cases where we found out. That's why we document things, and that's why we interview and we do this process to figure out what's real and what's not. But I just wish they would have showed the actual them going into these houses and realizing, like, looking at each other and be like, yeah, this is fake, instead of just them talking about it. I think that, like you said, it would have gave more credibility for sure.
Yeah.
I think that with since the start of it, there's been lots of different like paranormal investigation shows that have come up, all kinds of series through different channels. And I think that's amazing, because even with a movie series like this, the whole paranormal investigation thing, people always write it off as a hoax. It's bogus. And then like, even with like Ghostbusters and how like Dan Aykroyd and his family were all into the occult stuff, and how that kind of legacy carries on. I would like to see how that impacts the future when it comes to the paranormal stories and what other stuff people will come up with. So we have yet to see how it's really going to impact things in the long run after this. But over these like past 10 years though, plus, I think that's had a great effect for the horror community, even though you guys have been watching it for longer. And Tim, you've been watching it since you were 22. I've only been watching it since last night. So
Yeah.
I can't really,
to you.
I can't say, but I've heard people talk about the film in the past. A lot of people have recommended it to me. It's shame on me for not getting to those other films until recently, but I still think it's pretty great. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. I feel like it factor. I'm a 4 on that.
Oh, okay.
I'm with you, because I think it's a 4. I think it's a huge thing for this franchise, and people don't know if this franchise is coming to an end. Is this it? We haven't heard about The Nun 3. We haven't heard about we haven't heard about another Annabelle movie. With the thin man, the crooked man from the second was teased and never released. Like, we don't know.
Cool.
We don't know of any other movies that are going to happen in the Conjuring universe. This could be it. And I think that is why we're seeing box office results already. I think that's why it's doing well. Will it have a lasting impact? I don't think so. But for now, it is the final Conjuring movie. And I think that is significant. So that's why I give it a 4.
Guys, you guys are generous tonight, man. Like, damn. No,
wait for my next number.
Oh.
Dude, I gave it, to me, and I'll explain why. I gave it a 2. I gave it a 2 because I gave it a 2 for this movie. Like, if it was the Conjuring, the first Conjuring, I would have said a 5, because I mean, it's something that, again, we still talk about. So I mean, look how many years later we still discuss it. We love it. We praise it. There are new movies that are still not doing the things that the first Conjuring did. Even though the template is built out, it's there for them. The instructions are there. But this movie was just a 2. It was just I know, in like, it's kind of like Motley Crue, right? They retired. They said they weren't going to gig anymore, and they do their last show, and a few years later they come back and they start touring again. And I just feel like this movie is going to make so much money because everybody's like, oh, it's the last Conjuring, because the way they hyped it up, that because of that, they're going to be like, oh, we made a lot of money. Now we have to make another Nun 3 or another movie adjacent to, obviously, in the Conjuring universe. But yeah, I think this one's going to fizzle out in a week and everybody's going to be distracted with something else. So yeah, I just gave it a 2.
I can't argue with that. I feel like they will come back, but I wish they had gone out. I wish they had actually gone out with a Dr. Feelgood of a movie, but no, we didn't get Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood before the hiatus. So, all right. On to our final. We'll start wrapping it up with our how entertained were we, final thoughts, and then we'll get into the average with the final scores there. So I'll let you guys. What should I go first since I've been going first all night?
Go for it.
I'll do it.
Don't break the curse.
How entertained was I? 6. I was a 6 on this film. I was not super entertained. The horror elements left me flat and bored. However, as we've said throughout, the Ed and Lorraine elements of this movie, I don't think I would tell anybody who is a fan of the Conjuring universe to skip this. Yeah. Watch it. I think it's worth seeing to see the end of Ed and Lorraine's story, even if the haunted house elements are rehashes of the other films. They're just recycled pieces of the other movies. But what is unique and what is worth seeing is the end of Ed and Lorraine's career. Their family time. It's a beautiful story piece that I do kind of wish. I mean, I would watch this if, as we were talking about it, I started brainstorming. I would probably would have liked this better if it was very different in that it was Ed telling Tony bits and pieces of their story as we get to know Tony and see the end of them. And instead of having this kind of contrived and forced haunted house story that we're told it's so bad it ended their careers. Like, no, it wasn't. If we had seen him like, oh yeah, this little piece, and we see little clips of that story and we get to know Tony and the family and just a different way to do that, I'd be here for that, but it wouldn't be a horror movie. You know, that's a heartfelt drama. And actually the heartfelt moments of this movie are what works.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I'm a 6. Will I watch this movie again? Eventually. But when I'm going for a Conjuring movie, it's still going to be 1 or 2. Or Annabelle Comes Home. I defend Annabelle Comes Home. People don't like Annabelle Comes Home, but that is a fun movie. So Annabelle Comes Home, I'll defend that one too. But those are my 3 Conjuring films. So
I think you copied my scorecard because I'm giving it a 6 too. And I gave it a 6 as well. I was more emotional than I was entertained with this movie, and which was surprising for it being a horror Conjuring type universe movie. Like and none of them, Annabelle, the Nun, I was creeped out at times, like all these other movies, but this one's the only one that made me feel emotional. It made me think about my life. It made me think about my mortality. This one had more depth than it had horror in it for me. I think that, like you said perfectly, if you're a fan of The Conjuring, if you're a fan of Ed and Lorraine, watch this movie because this movie's going to give you closure. This movie gives you that proper send-off with them, even though it is false advertisement, because this case didn't end her career. I mean, clearly they still kept taking cases over the phone. The problem was that I don't think a lot of people are going to understand is the fact that the only reason they stopped going to these houses and all this stuff is just because it's mortality. They got older. Ed's heart's not doing great. Lorraine's tired. I mean, she's been dealing with this power for her entire life. And not to mention they have grandkids, right? Yeah. They lived such a dark life most of their lives, and now they're finally able to enjoy the little bit of light that they have because now they're grandparents. So they start, Lorraine got the vision and they decided they're like, we're going to still help people, but we're going to do it from a safe distance so we can still focus on our family that we neglected for so long, and I think that they obviously still continued because they showed it. So it wasn't the end, but entertained. I gave it a 6. I thought that was fun at times. It was very heartwarming. There was moments of emotion, but nothing more than that. Like I definitely love to have it to complete the collection.
Yeah.
And
Get the
it's
box set.
yeah, get the box set. And I think it's funny because I know it's gonna sound a little bit twisted, but I think I would watch this as a feel good movie. Just because like it has
I
that
don't think that's twisted.
yeah, because I know people would be like, what? The Conjuring, like you want to watch this as feel good? Yeah,
That's fair.
it made me feel really good about
It's a
the
happy
whole
ending.
family, the happy ending, the like what they had to look forward to, how human they were. Like they dealt with the same shit that we deal with. They weren't all the almighty, like powerful Lorraine and Ed. They were just people aging and just trying to do the best they could based on the movie. Obviously, I didn't know them in real life, but yeah. No, that's it. My rant.
All right.
You guys nailed most of it. Like I said, there were plenty of parts in the film that gave me chills. That I really appreciate, and it's something I wouldn't mind watching again. I'd be down for it. And it's something I'm going to tell people about. I think it's worth the watch as well. The sentimentality of it all, along with those chills and everything. Maybe I'm not as Tim picky about it, but I do like this film. I liked it, and after having watched the first all 3 last night and then this together, all succinctly, I think it does tie up really well for the most part. Even though the intro text kind of made it seem more dire than it really was at the end.
Yeah.
I still give it high marks. I think I feel like an 8 on it.
Hey,
All
that's
right.
good.
I was hoping you did a 6. 666.
I thought about that. I was like,
I'm curious, Jonathan, since you just watched all of them for the first time, what is your ranking?
Ooh.
Which is the best? Which is the worst?
So I really liked the first one. I thought that was great. The second one, however, had better special effects. And maybe certain aspects of it were a little more tense and dark compared to certain parts in the first one. 3 was cool and all, but it just didn't quite have that same feel. Was it so much demon inspired or like related? It was more of a cultist taking action on other people. But there were good aspects to that.
The X-Files. 3 was like an episode of the X-Files with Ed and Lorraine.
So I enjoy them all. I liked what I saw, but it's a hard toss up between what's 1 and 2 between the first and second films. Kind of like how you were talking about last night. If I had to rate it just based on the effects, then the second one would go first. But the first one, that initial story, the involvement, and just everything and how it went about in the house and how rough and raw it was, I would still safe to say it almost goes in order of production, except maybe I would have to say maybe it'd be I feel like 4, this most recent one, Last Rites, would still be a little bit better than 3 than Devil Made Me Do It. So I'd be like 1, 2, 4, and 3.
So I have to disagree with Evan in the comments. Insidious is a 4 at best, and I will die on that hill.
I haven't seen Insidious. I still got to watch that one as well.
That is my hot take. I personally loved Insidious until I watched it again for the first time. Like 6 years ago, or no, it was probably 3 years ago, and I was like, wow, I don't remember this movie like this. Anyways, so I have our final scores here. So if you have them and want to read them to me, you can. Otherwise, I have them.
I got mine.
Okay.
I don't have mine.
With my change, I'm at a 39.
So Johnathan is a 39. I am a 33. And GC, you are a 31 and a half. Because there's a half score in there. So the 3 of us together create an average of 34.5 or 3.5 stars out of 5. And that's about where I thought we would land, guys.
Yeah.
That's about where I thought we'd land. Because after I walked out, I was like, it's not a 4, it's not a 5.
3.5. It's fair, dude.
Yep,
Really fair.
I feel like that's pretty good. Don't go for the scares. Go for Ed and Lorraine, and it's worth it. It's worth it. So that's all. I didn't write an outro for us this time, Johnathan. Oh,
that's okay.
Final thoughts.
Yeah. I kind of gave my final thoughts.
Did you guys write down a final thoughts or no?
No, I did. I don't generally put anything on there. I usually say most of what I need to say during the episode.
Oh, okay.
You want to read yours? Yeah, I usually
go for it, dude. If you got some, go.
Yeah, you can read yours.
Oh, I put the movie was good. It wasn't great. The Conjuring Universe, you could tell it's lost its charm with this movie. It went from horror to just heartwarming, kind of dramatic type. It was a good send off. You could just tell there was just nothing left in the franchise as far as for creativity. It was just literally just giving them that homage. It's like, thank you, Vera, thank you, Patrick, for everything you've done for over the years, and you're gonna get a proper send off. And now, Patrick, you can focus on Insidious universe.
It was a proper farewell.
It was. That's all. That's what it was. But yeah, I don't know. It lost that conjuringness to me.
Yep.
But still, again, go watch it. It was awesome. Like, to experience that and to almost feel like you're gonna cry a little bit because it's like, damn, I don't know. That normally doesn't happen in these horror movies.
It's gonna hit you in the feels more than you expect, and way less in the scares. But that's okay. That's okay. So I didn't write an outro. I did want to say, GC, should we make it public? I know we've all talked about it behind the scenes, but
dude, I'm down, man. If you guys want to.
So I mean, Evan's live right with us, but we'll have others who catch it later. We've been talking, and GC is going to be joining us full time in January. So it'll be the 3 of us plus whatever guests we can wrangle in the meantime. But we'll start planning after our 13 Nights of Halloween season finale. And then from November to December, we'll be planning out the next 21 movies, I believe is what our year consists of. I'd have to double check.
Roundabout, yeah. Season 5 will be interesting.
Yeah. 4.
Or season 4, sorry.
Yep. Season 4. So we won't be doing 13 Nights of Halloween anymore because we'll be focusing on the Dread broadcast instead. Yeah. So really pushing the community feedback on that has been amazing, and I want to keep. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. That community. So really pushing that. Going to step back 13 nights of Halloween, and yep, Evan's excited. So GC will be here full time starting in January. So no idea what movies we're bringing yet, but we'll let you know as soon as we figure that out. So GC, exciting to have you.
Dude, I'm pumped, man. I mean, I think this is gonna be the best, thruple, the best. Yeah. I wanted to make a joke, but I was like, damn it, I wonder if like YouTube would allow it.
Just do it. I'll delete it later.
I was just gonna say, this is gonna be the best 3-way you guys are ever gonna experience on YouTube.
Sure.
But man, I'm just excited. It's always been a blast hanging out with you guys, and it feels so natural to be a part of it and to hang out with you. I think like next year, I mean, with the movie lists and everything, it's gonna be fun. I just make sure you guys, if you're watching this episode, to keep tuning in, get ready for next year. It's so much stuff in the works, and it's gonna be awesome. I'm honored to be a part of this with you guys.
We're excited to have you, and that, like, what we do different, I don't know how often, if you've made it this far in the episode, is we want you listening out there to score the movie with us. If you've seen it, you can use the same link, drop it in the chat, score it as we go, and we'll talk about that. So tonight was quiet because we're competing with football, and football gets the highest ratings in television. So not much we can do about that. Thank you, Evan, for still tuning in while everyone else.
We love you, Evan.
Football. Yeah, love you, Evan. So thank you guys. Johnathan, last words.
Rock out with your socks out.
Yeah.
Jonathan, he's too excited, guys. He's too excited. He's lost for words.
I'm just tired from my marathon of movies and everything else I've been running around doing today.
So
No
that's
more
all right. We
Conjuring.
gotta let you get to bed. We gotta record another 13 Nights of Halloween this week, I believe. But we'll talk
High
about
whack
that
it,
later.
yeah.
So thank you for joining us. As we've said, final words are: we have determined if you are a fan of the Conjuring series of Ed and Lorraine specifically, go see the movie. Don't go expecting scares. Go for a proper farewell to the franchise that has been with you for 12-ish years. And if you've enjoyed those rides, then hopefully you enjoy this movie. The Conjuring has been an excellent gateway series for so many people. Not too long after you finish the Conjuring series, you're going to be watching Bring Her Back, and that's going to fuck you up. But
watch Bring Her Back first, then this movie.
Then this is Child's Play. This is
this will make you feel better.
Movie, not the Chucky movie, Child's Play. This is a kids movie. Anyways, that's all we have, and we will see you in 2 weeks, 1 week. I don't know. This was a new release. It messes up the schedule. We'll be back. See you then.
Later, guys.
Peace.